If Star Wars is trying to tell us one thing, it is to not be a control freak. You know it's true. I'm Stephen Kent. I'm the author of How the Force Can Fix the World. I'm a political writer, TV commentator, public speaking coach, and I believe that Star Wars makes its fans better people by teaching them this one thing. You can't be in control of everything all the time. Here are 5 reminders from some of my talks and throughout the Star Wars saga that are reminders of this fact. Star Wars wants you to let go.
You can control how much suffering you have as a result of gripping something.
Whether you're talking about Buddhism or you're talking about Stoicism, there's this general idea that there are always going to be things in the universe that are happening to you that make you unhappy, that put you through pain and suffering. It's your choice, however, one, how you deal with those things, and whether or not you spend every waking hour of the night staring up at the ceiling about things you cannot control at all, and then you sacrifice the things that you could control. So in the beginning, like episode 1, there's a disturbance in the Force that Obi-Wan feels, and Qui-Gon tells his Padawan, you need to keep your mind here and now where it belongs. There's this idea that there is no future and there is no past. The past is something that's already been done. The future does not yet exist. The only thing that matters is in the present. That's pretty central to Jedi theology. This matters a lot, I think, when you just look at the chaos in the world, whether it be China on the rise and the idea that one day there could be World War III. Are you going to be stressed out about that, or are you going to just try to be a better neighbor, a better wife or husband, a better parent? And focus on the thing that you do have control over. That's the general idea. You need to let go.
Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. I think it's one of the most true things that Star Wars has ever said about the human psyche and possibly what goes wrong in society and civilizations. If Star Wars is trying to tell us one thing, it is to not be a control freak. It's that you're going to have to let go of either just the way that things are, that the world is a certain way and you just can't change it. And then there's also going to be that you cannot predict and be ready for everything that's going to happen. In the Stoic philosophy, there's the philosopher Epictetus. He's a Roman slave. He basically breaks down the philosophy into one thing, which is that a Stoic is supposed to separate that which they can control from that which they truly cannot and focus on the area where they can. Star Wars has pushed every one of its characters into making choices about how much they're going to try to control. We know what happens with Anakin. Luke actually dabbles with the dark, though, in this way. And it's in episode 5. He has a vision that Han and Leia are suffering in Cloud City at the hands of the Empire and Darth Vader. And he's completing his Jedi training. He is going to go save them, because that's what a hero does. A hero goes and saves them. And Yoda says to him, always in motion the future is. You can't change everything, and you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what their fate is. Luke says, I have to try. I have to go do something. And he goes up there. He can't do anything. And all he does is get his hand cut off. Because what he saw through the Force was always going to happen. It's the conceit of thinking that you can change the future.
What you're really talking about there is agency. Where do I have agency? Where do my choices matter? Like, from the psychologists we've been talking to, that's like the single thing that is universally understood to be an engine of happiness, is recognizing that you have an internal agency. Your choices matter. You are not a victim of circumstance or of the system or of the world. Like, no, I can make my life better or worse based on the choices I make.
Anakin and Padme are talking about politics and how it should work. And she says, what kind of system would you like? And Anakin says, well, if I could design a system, it would be one where the politicians get together, they discuss what's in the best interest of the people, and then they do it. And she says, well, that's what we already do, but the trouble is people don't agree. He says, well, they should be made to. Who's gonna make them? You? Not me, someone wise. Right there is the totalitarian instinct that a lot of us have. A lot of us have little dormant totalitarian tendencies that we say no to because we believe in liberty. We believe in it despite the things that we want to control.
So can you tell me, and this is an honest question.
But there is always going to be another fad that challenges our sensibilities, another crisis that challenges us and makes us want government to go and fix things and keep us safe, but it always comes at a cost. Star Wars is a story about that cost. Anakin Skywalker originally sets out to try to save people who he loves from dying. That deal leads him to become Darth Vader.
suffering for the rest of his life inside a metallic suit, and also punishing the people of the galaxy for the choices that he made. This is something that we should also think about. How far are we willing to go to make things good for everybody? There will always be a cost. Darth Vader in Star Wars is my reminder of that.
Star Wars is still about conquering fear, whereas if you turn on the TV or flip open the New York Times, you'll be told day in and day out that being afraid of your own shadow is practically a virtue, that you could be killed by any moment by COVID or a terrorist, and that your kids could be kidnapped if you let them play outside unsupervised. Star Wars still says no, and that fear and being a control freak is wrong, and that it's going to unravel your life, maybe even hurt people. I hope you liked this video and it was a good reminder to you about Star Wars and not being a control freak. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and do join our community over on Substack. thisistheway.substack.com. We're just a bunch of people who love finding the life advice and wisdom within Star Wars and other great movies and television shows. Come join us today. This is the way.